Before I came to McKinsey, I spent 6.5 years in the U.S. Navy as a submarine officer. I did a wide variety of things, so everything from working in the engine room all the way to driving the ship. I decided to join the military in high school, so I actually went to the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, and I decided to join because I had a really great experience leading teams over the summer at the Naval Academy, and I knew that it would be a great route for me to become an officer and to serve my country. I'm also one of 7 siblings, and so I figured it would be a good example to set for my siblings. And it has been a wild ride. I would say that it wasn't what I expected because it's a little hard to know quite what you're getting into in the military, but it was one of the best experiences of my life. I think the thing that surprised me the most about my military experience, especially being on submarines, is the level of dedication and commitment that the crew members have. When you're underway on a submarine, unlike in the civilian world, right? If you have a crisis, you call 911. On a submarine, there's no police department, there's no fire department, there's no superhero that's gonna come and save the day. It's really up to you, and it's up to the person next to you. I definitely experienced fear in my time in the submarine force, and I would say that there were 2 big categories of fear that I felt. The first was very much an external threat. So you're in the ocean, there are a lot of elements at play. There could be, enemy submarines out there. And the way we dealt with that sort of fear is we practiced a lot. We did a lot of drills. We prepared for every scenario so that if it did happen, your muscle memory would kick in and you would know to do at least 5 things right away that could save the submarine. And the other type of fear that I dealt with was definitely more of an internal one. Sometimes people refer to it as imposter syndrome. So feeling like you don't belong, feeling like you were somehow mistaken the thousands of folks that have been in the submarine force. And I think it's one that a lot of colleagues deal with even today. And I try to remind myself that I'm here for a reason, I have a unique perspective, my voice matters, and I try to remind people of that as well, because sometimes the internal fear can really get you. I was, one of the first women on submarines in the 100-year history, and my commanding officer, who's the head of the submarine, had spent 20 to 30 years in a submarine force that was all male. And he pulled me aside one day and talked to me a little bit about leadership. And he told me that he thought he had learned it all of the things he needed to know about leadership in his decades of experience. And it wasn't until women came on submarines he had to really evaluate if the style that he chose, that he worked with all of the many years, was really the best style. And he told me that he learned that leadership is very much a toolkit and not a template that you can just apply to every situation. You have to meet people where they are. You have to understand them, and that's something that's really stuck with me. I've loved the Veterans Network at McKinsey. I've leaned on the Veterans Network since day one. My very first project at McKinsey, I was staffed because I knew a veteran from my summer experience, and my engagement manager was a former Marine. So I felt at home at McKinsey since day one because of the Veterans Network. And other ways in which I've relied on the Veterans Network have included a dining out, which is a traditional military dinner where we have toasts and sometimes there are swords. And it was just great to come back to that experience and in the McKinsey environment and with fellow colleagues. So fun outings, mentorship for sure. Definitely have quite a few military sponsors who are looking out for me and looking out for my development. So yeah, the Veterans Network has been a place where I've felt most at home at McKinsey. One thing that is very different about being in the military, being on submarines, and being at McKinsey is the communication style. So in the military, it's all about short, it's all about direct and acronyms. And I found that that's something that I've had to really learn, both in the McKinsey context and speaking to clients, using a lot of jargon and acronyms. You just don't relate to people as much. And so it certainly has been one of the skills that I learned in the military that perhaps I had to unlearn a bit at McKinsey. In the DC office, I worked on an effort to help Black and Latinx SMB owners in the DC area both recover from the COVID-19 pandemic and also to reach parity with white-owned firms. So one of the great things about DC is that it's such a racially diverse area to live, but unfortunately the diversity in residency is not reflected in business ownership. And so it was just one of those incredible experiences at McKinsey where we have to tackle a really big problem. And I'm really proud of the work that the team did.